Welcome to Mind Bending Monday. We are so excited that you're joining us. Today is the first episode in our Classic Puzzles series. I love these puzzles. You may have seen these before. They're classics. They're not originals. But the key in introducing them to your students is in the questioning. So let's use these really fun and engaging puzzles to help students develop great strategic thinking. Are you ready? Let's get started. Classic Brain Teasers, Episode 1. I would love to be able to give the source of this puzzle, but I'm not sure where it originated. So here's one interactive source for you to try with your students. I've seen this using jumping beans, frogs, red and yellow counters, and years ago, I was even part of a group that had to solve it live on carpet squares as part of a team building activity. So this has been around for a while. The key is in the questioning. So what is this great puzzle? Jumping frogs. I love this puzzle. It introduces students to the idea of thinking ahead, but it's not so many moves ahead that they become overwhelmed. So let's look at the puzzle. If you're not familiar with it, it has pretty basic rules. The goal is to move all of the red frogs to the right-hand side and all of the yellow frogs to the left-hand side. Frogs can only move forward, only one frog on each lily pad at a time, and no swimming. Now, frogs can only move two ways. They can jump to the next lily pad if it's empty, or they can jump over one frog to land on an empty lily pad, but they cannot jump over two frogs. Okay, pretty basic rules. Let's look at strategies. One strategy is just to have students explore, and let's see what happens. Okay, you're going to have to move a frog. And really, it's not going to matter whether it's red or yellow, but you can let them figure that out. But let's move the red frog forward. And at this point, you have two choices. You can jump with the yellow, or you can move the red forward. So if you move the red forward, what happens? Well, hopefully students will realize they're now stuck. They can actually move this one more. That's the only one they can move. And then they can't move the yellow. Really, they couldn't move the yellow here. So once they've done this, these yellow are trapped, they're done. That didn't work. Okay, let's look at another strategy. So let's say you move this forward, and instead of moving this, you move the yellow. Okay, that was good. So far, so good. All right. So I'm either going to have to move red or yellow. So let's just say they move red. And then let's do this. They can either move yellow or red. Well, here's what happens. If they move yellow, now these two are stuck. If they move red, now these two are stuck. It may take them a few extra moves to figure out that they're stuck. But what you want students to see through questioning and through their exploration is that anytime they have two frogs of the same color that are next to each other before they get finished, that prevents all these other frogs from getting past them. So these two red can't move forward, or these three yellow can't move forward. So you have to be very careful in your planning, and you have to think ahead. Okay, so let's get started. Let's try. Here's a red. Well, I don't want to move these two reds together, so I'm going to try this. Fantastic. Now, this is a lot of times where students get stuck, because if they move this here, what happens? Then their only choice is to move either this red, which puts these two together, or to move this yellow, which puts these two together. So that is not what they want. So that doesn't work. So if that doesn't work, let's try it again. Okay, red and yellow. I already know that moving this forward doesn't work, so I'm going to try this. Okay, well, I don't want to move the yellow because then these two yellows will be together, so I'll move the red. I don't want to move the yellow because these two yellows will be together, so I'll move the red. And then this is another place where students often get stuck. But if they move this yellow, then they can only move this yellow, or they can only move this red. So then they get back to the same situation that they had over here. So once they figure out that you really want to set up a situation where frogs can jump, then they're on their way to the solution. So those three can jump. Then the red can move forward. Now, the red are going to jump, and some students might say, but these two are together. Well, it doesn't matter because they're at the end. They're not blocking any yellows. And the same thing happens here. And then, voila, all the frogs made it to their goal. So as you can see, that's pretty basic, but you would be surprised at the time it can take for students to figure out those options. But as you can also see, you really only have to think ahead a couple of moves, maybe 3 at the most. So it's a really good opportunity for students to practice strategy in a way that is not so threatening. The interactive website really helps too. I hope your students love these puzzles. They are so fun, and my students have always loved them. So if they do love them and they really want some more challenges, you might want to visit our website. If you go to the student option, which is right here, scroll down, you'll find some websites with interesting mazes and strategy games. These are really great for thinking skills. Thank you so much. We really value your thoughts, so much so that we are giving away a prize every month just to hear from you. So to enter, follow one of these rules. Just share what you're thinking about Mind-Bending Mondays. Also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We don't want you to miss a single episode of Mind-Bending Mondays. Thank you again so much. We look forward to seeing you next week.